Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this meeting, we will tell you about labor relation. And what is labor relation? The first one, the background of labor relationship is industrial work relation or thermal labor relation in connection with the implementation guidelines. Pancasila industrial relation begin to develop a new term, namely industrial relation. Industrial relation which has a wider scope than labor relation. The meaning of labor relationship it is regulated in Enactment Number 13 of 2003 concerning labor, which states the meaning of industrial relation, which is harmonious and dynamic, conducive and various justice in companies. There are three elements that support the achievement of industrial relation goals, namely, first, rights and obligations implemented. Second, can any dispute arise be resolved internally? Third, work strikes by workers and company closures. Employers do not need to force their own will because disputes have been resolved properly. Settlement of industrial relation dispute. First, bipartite negotiation or negotiation between employees and employers or labor unions. Second, tripartite negotiation. A. Mediation. B. Conciliation. C. Arbitrage. Labor relation is responsible for managing first, employee, supervisor, and administrator labor relation question. Second, addressing union, organizing, and employee representation matters. Third, contract or policy and procedure consultation, interpretation, and administration. Fourth, collective bargaining. Fifth, grievance administration, investigation, mediation, and arbitration. Sixth, labor or management relation and meetings. Seven, labor or management informal conflict resolution. 8. Administrator and management training. 9. Union request for information. And according to Wikipedia, Abdul Hakim 2009 explained that the term industrial relation is a translation of labor relation or labor relation. This term initially assumed that labor relation only discuss relation problems between workers or laborers and employees. Along with development and the reality that occurs in the field, the problem of working relation between workers or labor and employers also involves a wide range of other aspects. Thus, Abdul Karim says that labor relations are not limited to the relationship between workers or laborers and employers, but there needs to be government intervention. Principle of industrial relation. Payaman J. Simanjuntak 2009 describes several principles of industrial relation, namely common interest and industrial relation support facilities. Common interests are entrepreneurs, workers, or laborers, the community, and the government. First, mutually beneficial partnership. Workers or laborers and entrepreneurs as partners who are interdependent and needed. Second, functional relationship and division of tasks. Third, kinship. Fourth, creation of piece of effort and piece of work. Fifth, increase productivity. Sixth, increase mutual welfare. And industrial relationship facilities are first, workers or labor union. Second, employers organization. Third, bipartite corporation institution or LKS bipartite. Fourth, tripartite corporation institution or LKS tripartite. Fifth, company regulation. Sixth, collective labor agreement or PKP. Seven, labor legislation. Eight, industrial relation dispute settlement institution. A labor relation system incorporates both societal values, example freedom of association, a sense of group solidarity, search for maximize profit, and technical example methods of negotiation, work organization, consultation, and dispute resolution. Traditionally, labor relation systems have been categorized along national lines, but the validity of this is waning in the face of increasingly varied practice within countries and the rise of a more global economy driven by international competition. Some countries have been characterized as having corporate labor relation models, example Belgium and Germany, whereas others are known as being conflictual, example Bangladesh, Canada, and United States.
Different systems have also been distinguished on the basis of having centralized collective bargaining. Thus, in Nordic countries, although there is a move away from this as illustrated by Sweden, bargaining at the sectoral or industrial level, or bargaining at the enterprise or plant level, in countries have moved from plant to free market economies. Labor relation systems are in transition. There is also increasing analytical work being done on the typology of individual employment relationship as indicator of types of labor relation system. The element of labor relation is, first, element of work. In an employment relationship, there must be a work that was agreed upon or called the object of the agreement. With the agreement of the work by both parties, the worker is bound to the job. The work must be done by the worker himself, and if you want to order someone else, you must get the employer's permission. This has been explained in the article 1603 of the Civil Code, which states that a job assigned to a worker, labor must be done alone. If you need third-person assistance, it must be with the permission of the employer or the person who ordered for their labor, time, and skill worker entitled to wage. The second is element of wage. Wage play an important role in work relations. It can even be said that the main goal of a worker at work is to earn wage, so that if the wage element does not exist, a work relationship will not be created. Wages are performance benefits that must be paid by the employer for work performed by worker. There are several government policies that need to be considered in determining work wage. An example is a policy on the provincial minimum wage, or UMP, on the structure and scale of wage, and so on. Generally, the payment of wage is given in the form of money, but it does not preclude the possibility of paying wage in cash. The third and the last is element of common. The element of an order in an employment relationship means that the worker concerned must comply with the employer's order to do the work that was agreed upon. The element of an order can be interpreted broadly, such as work targets, instruction, and so on. The definition of work agreement, according to the Manpower Law number 13 of 2003, mentions the time factor as an element of the work relationship. However, if the time or length of the working relationship is not stated in the agreement or law, then what applies is according to custom. If it still cannot be determined, then the employment relationship is deemed to be held for an indefinite period until it is declared terminated. Work relation element in the work agreement. First, empowering and utilizing labor in an optimal and human manner. Elucidation of Article 4 letter of enactment number 13 of 2003 concerning labor is empowerment and utilization of manpower is an integrated activity to be able to provide the widest possible employment opportunities for Indonesian workers. Through this empowerment and utilization, it is hoped that Indonesian workers can participate optimally in national development, but while still upholding human value. Second, realizing equitable job opportunities and provision of labor in accordance with the needs of national and regional development. Third, providing protection to workers in realizing welfare and improving the welfare of workers and their families. Because the labor sector is considered important and involves public interest, the government has shifted it from private law to public law. Another reason is the many labor problems that occur both at home and abroad. One example is the many cases that have been submitted to the Industrial Relations Court or PHI regarding the use of foreign workers. Every decision by the judiciary of the IRC will serve as an evaluation for the benefit of the manpower sector. Employees are one of the greatest assets a company has to achieve each of its goals. For this reason, establishing good relationship with employees need to be done by every company. Do not think employees as mere tools of the company to achieve profit. Rather, the company must establish a relationship with employees and treat them like co-workers like any other. In order to have a good relationship with employees, don't think that all you have to do is give a certain salary increase or award, but the following things. First, transparent policy. Adopting an open attitude and policy is one of great way to build relationship with employees. The open attitude referred to here is that the company is willing to open up to accept ideas and opinions from employees regarding certain matters. You can even create policies that allow employees to file a complaint about something. In addition to making employees feel valued, building the relationship with the employees also allows companies to get new ideas and opinions that may not have been thought of before. Companies can also find out what obstacles their employees are facing. Second, communicate well. To be able to establish relationship with employees, make sure employees know that you as the boss are willing to communicate well in any opportunity, whether it's direct communication in a meeting via email or telephone and so on. Don't just care about your own work without caring for your employees. Employee work motivation will be more man. Third, make time for employee. Meeting employee is not enough just through meeting of office needs. Instead, trying to spend as much time as possible with your employees on building rapport. Make sure you are there for employees in time for trouble or grief. Small examples that are easy to do are having lunch together, celebrating employees' birthday, visiting sick employees, and so on. Fourth, be fair to employee. One of the cause employee dissatisfaction is unfair treatment from the company or superiors. It can be said that usually superiors have their favorite staff or subordinates so that the other employees feel they are being treated unfairly. Your relationship will be well maintained if you are fair to all employees without exception. To provide work motivation to employees, don't have the same expectation from every employee because of course everyone has their own strength and weakness. Basically, you have to be positive with all employees. Set clear and sensible goals. No matter how good and how great your employees are, they will not like you or the company if they are charged with meeting unreasonable targets. Never ask other people to do something you can't even do yourself. 6. Involving employees in decision making. When you involve employees in decision making process such as team goals or tools needed to support work, for example, they will feel valued and needed by the company. 7. Apply the same rules to every employee. Do not take advantage of your status or higher position to the arbitrary. Follow company rules like other employees, or in the word, don't make exception for yourself. Honesty always gives you the best result. Remember, honesty is the main thing in every job. When you lie to employees, you destroy their trust, which then result in damage to the relationship between both parties. Even though it's not always easy to tell the truth, employees will appreciate everything you say. By doing the ways described above, it will certainly have a good impact on the company. The good impacts often include productivity results, increased employees will be loyal to the company, no fraud has occurred, and employees are more likely to be open. Conversely, if they feel uncomfortable in their work environment, it will have a negative impact on the company, including productivity results are decreasing because employees do not feel at home at work. There will be a demo, there is fraud and corruption in carrying out a project. Well, with the explanation above, it can be used as a lesson or motivation for companies that want a better future. That's all the explanation from us. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.